All right, welcome to Kitchen Open Late, the podcast from the back of house. I'm Chef Frosty.
And I'm Chef Kwanzaa.
So, Kwanzaa,
Yes, I'm Frosty.
did you know that technically you can't overcook mushrooms?
I don't. What you mean? You can burn them, right?
You can burn mushrooms.
You can't overcook them.
If you cook them at a consistent temperature for a long enough time, apparently, you just can never overcook them. They will never, like when chicken's overcooked, it's dried out
Yeah.
and rough and hard and whatnot. Apparently, that never happens to mushrooms.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
good to
You
know.
can burn them because the pan's too hot or you scorch them or whatever.
Right,
Of course.
right.
Of course
Yeah.
that can happen.
Yes.
But apparently they can't get overcooked.
Huh. I'd love to test that theory.
I mean, we'd have to do it for hours.
Right. I mean, I assume they just turn to mush at some point.
I would imagine. I mean, duck
It
salt.
just kinda breaks
probably,
down?
Yeah. I don't know. Mushrooms are weird.
Yes, mushrooms are.
I don't know. I don't know how to classify because it's like there's animals
Uh-huh.
and then there's like fruits and veggies, which are kind of the same thing. And then there's mushrooms.
Are kind of somewhere. They're the meat of the veggie world.
I mean, they're
in my
not even
understanding.
really vegetables. They're totally different.
Yeah.
So, botanically, fruits are the mature ovaries of a plant. Anything that disperses a seed, a cucumber is a fruit.
Right.
A cherry is a stone fruit who's got the one seed in the middle. Those are just all ways to disperse seeds. And honestly, things like bananas and shit, which is obviously a fruit, all of those looked way different back in the day.
Yeah, true.
Like bananas were basically just pods, seed pods. That's really all a fruit is.
Yeah.
Is effectively a seed pod. And vegetables are anything else on the plant. So roots, stems, branches, leaves, all of. So like a carrot is just a root. It's a tuber.
Right.
Same with the potato. Or celery is a stalk. It's a plant in and of itself. There are celery leaves
Right.
and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
Corn, I'm pretty sure is actually the corn that we eat is a fruit
Right. The actual like kernels.
because
and
all the
stuff.
kernels are seeds,
Right.
which
Right.
again would look real different.
And it comes off of a plant.
Right.
Whole
So the
corn
wheat,
stalk.
the stalk, yeah,
Yes.
that's the plant. Mushrooms are a fungus,
Right. And we're
which
already at
is
a
just what like
weird spot.
it's like saying what is red.
It
Describe
just
red
is.
without like to someone who's never seen a color. Well, it
Yeah.
just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, it just kind of is what it is.
A fungus just kind of is what the it is.
Right. A fungus to me is a weird like micro multi-celled organism that's just multiplied and become its own structure. It's kind of how I think about humans sometimes,
Yeah.
because it just kind of spreads and consumes and adapts.
I mean, the largest organism on the planet living right now is a fungus.
Was that
Yeah. It's like miles big.
right? Because it's just this large interconnected web.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think. I mean, like, okay, yeah, we did we put some metal things on the planet. That's
we
really
did.
nice for us.
It's cool.
We enslaved some other animals. That's really cool. I'm pretty
Uh-huh.
sure mushrooms are probably the dominant species. Like, they're just letting us either they're letting us think we're doing all this and that's cute.
Right.
We'll just consume you all when you die. It's
Yeah,
fine.
eventually.
Either that, or we're like Parasect. It's like you're
Yeah,
doing
they're
a lot of
just-
work for us. Thank you. That's
Uh-huh.
great.
Right. And I mean, mushrooms have been known to, dominate some other species.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, was it a fungus or like a bacteria or something where they will like an ant will get it and then all the other ants like take it away? I'm pretty sure it's like
It's
a
a fungus.
spore. It's a fungus.
a spore. Yep.
And it's
The
like,
ants have
oh,
adapted
shit.
to that. Yep.
So 5 of you are gonna go basically take this ant away
Yep.
and then kill yourselves.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then this ant's gonna just become a mushroom.
Yep. Absolutely.
That's crazy, man.
I seen the a recent video with a spider,
Yeah.
a tarantula
Yeah.
that got and it literally looks like the cordyceps virus from The Last of Us.
Yeah, no, I
it
mean-
literally looks like that.
And I've seen footage where it's like some of these things move.
Yeah,
Like not 100%, not like fully
Like super fast
but
or
like
whatever.
the spider's walking around and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
infected by a mushroom.
oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
don't that.
Mushrooms are just better parasites, bro.
Yeah, no, like it's again, we're really really lucky because these ants, all they do is walk by it. Like even it's like finding a cobra. in the woods,
It's much worse than that.
and you just walk past it, and it's like, oh shit. But
It's-
this cobra can kill you from looking at you.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know
Right.
that you were hit.
Right.
You wouldn't know for a while.
You start acting weird, and now everyone's
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, we got to take you out and like
Yeah, you gotta take you out to pasture,
like
bro.
Lenny from Mice and Men." Like,
The problem is it's Lenny and his bud.
yeah, tell me about
Yeah.
the ducks, George. You gotta. It's horrible. What a
Yeah,
horrible thing.
absolutely. It's
And what a horrible thing for the ants who have to kill themselves, but also they're all kind of like a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's so.
It's you got to amputate
Yeah.
a piece of it off before it spreads too far.
But
That's
in
the
this-
whole situation.
But mushrooms are too. It's even worse.
Mushrooms are so fascinating because they move with a weird intelligence. They operate with a weird intelligence.
Sure.
They have been known to cooperate with other plant life.
Yes. Yeah. Trees. So have you heard of the Wood Wide Web?
Kind of. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, things can happen miles away
Yes.
that will give information to another source about a threat that's on the horizon.
Yes.
That's insane.
That's insane. Like, also, what does that mean?
I don't even know.
Because, like, I brought that up one time to a girl who used to hang out at the bar. She was a friend of ours. I was like, I wonder how deaf people think.
It's a
'Cause
good
when
question.
When I think, like, I mean, it's literally an internal monologue.
Yes, exactly.
I'm using words. Go to the grocery store. Buy these things. If I'm in the store, I'm often repeating peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, so I can remember that shit. Because I want to bring or like I just remembered I need that. What happens if you don't have an internal monologue?
Right.
What happens if you're deaf and blind? How do you think?
What's the woman's name?
Helen Keller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand how
I
she
don't understand what her
operated.
thought process is like.
Right.
Because its mind is so visual and so auditory.
It become
I write stories in my head. I talk to myself all the time in my head. And I'm hearing that.
yeah.
I don't even know where that comes from.
I hear and see things. I'm watching movies.
Right.
I listen to a horror story podcast that doesn't have visuals, so I create those visuals in my head.
Right.
When
Some
you
people
read
don't do
books,
that.
Which is so crazy.
How do you read? How do you like reading?
Right. You just see the words printed out all the time. I don't.
That's how it starts. That's always how it starts. It's five like 30 seconds of I'm
Yeah.
reading words.
Yeah.
But if it's a book I like, then it's just I'm watching a movie.
Exactly.
I'm just
You
watching
stop
a movie.
reading
Yeah,
at some
100%.
point, and you're just watching the movie on the pages.
My
at some
father
point.
can't do that. Or doesn't do it automatically.
I know.
That's so weird.
It's so crazy to me. I don't.
I know we turned hard really fast. So sorry. But no, like seriously, I don't understand. I understand, like, I get a blind person talking, but like they won't visualize things. Of course, that makes all the sense. And I understand a deaf person only visualizing things. But like,
But
if you're deaf and if you're Helen Keller, are you literally going through a thought in your mind of the like the hand
feels?
signs on your what
Yeah.
that feels like? Are you really like? Are you just bringing to mind the feeling of water pouring down your throat when you think of being thirsty? Are you literally just trying to have that sensation somehow?
there is something to, at least for a blind person,
Yes.
they can understand the way the physical world is shaped.
They understand the idea of sight, but they
Yes.
don't understand it.
Yeah.
They understand the concept.
Right.
Like how I understand, like that purple doesn't technically exist.
Sure.
Like it's not really a color. Color we don't see. Like we or cats can see colors we can't, or what the
Yeah,
ever.
exactly. Yeah,
but
yeah.
like I can't understand. Well, like when mushrooms communicate,
What does that mean?
what does that mean exactly?
Right.
'Cause
What is
mushrooms
the
can, like-
information that's getting sent?
Right. Because mushrooms can like carry electrical impulses.
Yes.
Are they? First of all, what the fuck? How?
Yeah. It's.
I understand. Again, I understand. I have a heart that is a muscle that is being powered by a brain that does have a certain amount of electricity in it.
Yep.
I get that. I get how all the things in the body work and come together. I don't understand what a mushroom is doing.
It's all about stimulus. It's being stimulated in a certain way.
I
that
get.
gives a certain reaction.
I can stimulate a cockroach to move its legs.
Yes.
It doesn't understand anything from that. These mushrooms are being warned of danger. What does that mean?
I don't.
What does it mean for the mushroom to experience? Is it experience fear?
So in the what'd you call it? The wood wide web?
Yes. Yeah.
I have heard of instances where, again, danger is on the horizon. And somehow, knowing this danger knowledge over here miles away will begin to adapt in a certain way to protect itself from that danger.
Yes.
I don't understand how that works. I don't understand how they know what to adapt into.
Right. Right.
Like I've seen a thing where the flowers will start to bud into a certain shape so it looks like a certain animal.
Right.
How do you know what that looks like?
Like, I understand perfectly. Perfectly, I understand stick bugs. Millions and millions of years it took to get a creature that looks a lot like a stick.
Yeah.
Because over time, small changes happened to the thing to make it look a little bit more like a stick because there's a better chance of surviving.
Yes.
I don't understand how my fucking big toe can tell my brain there's a fire nearby, and then I can just mold my fingers into the shape of a cobra.
Whatever to stop into a fan
Right.
or whatever
I don't
to
get that at
defend against
all.
the fire.
So I'm going to talk a lot about things I don't understand in any way.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a new, weird field of science. Do you know they're making computers out of mushrooms?
I know they're trying to get it to create bio and mechanical computers and like chips and stuff, computer chips and such.
Yeah,
Yes.
wetware.
And motherboards.
Not
yes.
hardware or software,
Yes.
but wetware.
Yeah.
Living, like, basically,
Organic.
basically,
infused.
imagine a hard drive with mold and
Fungus on it.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Because so they did tests with this slime mold. Basically, where they stimulated it with electrical impulses and got it to have thoughts and memories and solve puzzles. Like they put it through a simulation of the Japanese subway system.
Yep.
And they taught it how to navigate. Or
Yeah.
like they didn't even teach it. It just figured it out.
Yeah. It did just figure it out.
And then it like reformed itself and then rerouted the entire Japanese subway system more efficiently.
to make it more efficient. Exactly. How to get to these different points.
Because it remembered how to, like, it remembered all the things it went through and then did it again better.
Yeah. I've seen it go through mazes.
It can store memories. It can make decisions.
Yeah. It's
Why? I don't understand what that means, though, because I'm only able to understand human perception.
exactly.
And I barely understand that.
So let's go. The semi bridge that I kind of make is like an octopus and its tentacles. An octopus does.
Sure,
I know it's not the same.
Yep.
But it learns through its own tentacles because it has brain-like nerve endings
Right.
that can kind of understand and discover its surroundings.
Yeah.
And from the videos that I've watched of the mushrooms doing the same thing, of the fungus doing the same thing,
Yep.
they do kind of spread out there and get a generalization of what's going on around them.
Yeah.
And then you start to see the majority of the fungal cells, I guess, move in the proper location.
But see, here's like I understand like a potato when it grows its and it's searching for light,
Yeah.
or a tree,
Yes.
or a plant of any kind. I get
Right.
it's like okay,
Right.
I am stimulated to search for light,
Yes.
and that is my nutrient, and like that's what will keep me living. That's what all things do. I totally get that. What I don't understand is how mushrooms are like making decisions and having thoughts.
I think part of the thing is that mushrooms or fungus nutrients can come from so many different sources.
But that still doesn't account for the idea of like I'm having. What is a thought? Like again, it's not mushrooms are doing things so efficiently
Yes.
and so creatively,
Yes.
and are solving problems and having memories. Like it's hard for me to wrap my head around the idea of something without a brain. But our mushrooms, what does a brain even do? Like I don't understand. That's where it gets so it hurts my head.
You got to start going into what do you mean by a brain?
Right.
What constitutes as a brain?
Right.
We're like you just said, it's a mass of meat in our skull that has electrical pulses and stimuli hitting it.
Yeah.
Maybe fungus is just a large brain. Again, let's go back to the octopus tentacles.
Right.
It's just a bunch of learning nerve endings that understand and gather and process information.
I mean, it feels a lot more like AI. Honestly, one
I
big
know, yes.
thing
Yeah.
that's all kind of connected. I mean, again, imagine.
And we want to put this into our machinery. We want to
Yeah.
combine natural AI and artificial AI.
Right, I mean, again,
artificial intelligence.
That to me seems like a perfect horror movie. Like, AI gets a hold of a fungus and starts connecting with all. I mean, that's how Ultron should do it.
Yeah.
And you can never be shut down. An EMP can't turn off a mushroom.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, how does an electrical stimulus. I understand anything can be electrified,
Yeah.
but, like, what does that mean? This is where I said it's a bad subject to talk about because I don't know, but it's such a baby field. It's not like there's a. Like,
Yeah, it is.
there are people out there who do understand, but it's like 12.
Yeah, right.
There's a
12 people in
handful
the
of
world.
them who know about this specific, let's grow a computer mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's so interesting to see, like, the AI-generated images of what this might look like, where it's literally just like
Yeah, just like a
moldy hard drive.
on top of the hard drive. Yeah, I wouldn't even understand exactly what that means.
I don't understand how normal computers work.
Right.
Really? I mean, I get the basics of, like, okay, I know how coding works. I know how that translates to a screen. I don't understand much more than that. The internet,
can.
how all of that shit goes on.
I don't understand the internet.
I don't understand it at all, so it's really hard for me to grasp mushrooms, which are alive. I mean, and we share the planet with these guys. I mean, again, like, empty field, rain, mushrooms, all over the place.
It's actually kind of accurate.
I mean, like, the next day, full-grown mushrooms.
Yeah, things just start to mold over.
Yeah.
That's.
I've had to cut the grass because of the mushrooms before.
Really.
Yeah.
I've seen tons of mushrooms like grow in like my grandma's field or lawn.
It's definitely been like the lawn could go 2 more days, but these mushrooms are pretty big,
gotta go.
and we've got a dog, so
Don't want them eating the shrooms.
Right.
I couldn't. In a working computer, you need a cooling system because it overheats. Now, if you're trying to introduce wetware
yep.
into a computer system, the cooling system. Do you want it to be very cold? Because you don't want the mold to spread. Maybe
it's one of the potential benefits is there might not need to be much because it would take less power.
What it needs to feed, does it not?
Because
Because it's a living organism.
But mushrooms might not have to feed. It's like those little space bear pigs. Those little troglodyte things or whatever. Those tiny
they do
things.
still need to eat. How much they need to eat is extremely small.
But that's what I'm saying. Let's say if a mushroom needs to eat, quote unquote,
Right.
something new every 10 years, that's not really a bad time frame for replacing your technology anyway.
Sure, I get that. But then we've got, it would take less power, so we need less cooling. I feel like you would still need more, you would need cooling to contain your fucking mushroom motherboard, right? Because you don't want it, I don't want my fucking box over here to spread to the rest of my room.
No, I get that. I mean, at that point, you'd think it would be like we got it under control.
I guess if it's sitting in the room, yeah.
I would hope. I mean, the best thing, honestly, would just be, okay, let's grow this mushroom onto your body. Like, we've incorporated this mushroom with this technology, and now we just gotta, like, you've got a little, whatever, like, bump on your shoulder or something. It'd be tiny. Or even on on your ankle. You know that little bone that sticks out? Mm-hmm. Just make that a little bigger.
I am all for and against these ideas. It's like introducing parasites into your system.
Oh, right? 100%, yeah.
Or viruses. That's how we make vaccines, isn't it?
So, there was a guy, I'm going to this story up. I didn't just watch it. It just popped into my head. Mm-hmm. Like, there was a guy who ate a sandwich, had some mold on it, and, like, half his face melted off. Like, he was on Oprah or some shit where it's like, I shouldn't have eaten the sandwich. Like, I hate that. That's scary.
I wonder if the writers of The Last of Us saw that and kind of got the idea from that, because that's part of the lore is that it started with bread.
Yeah, so I don't know. I haven't seen The Last of Us, but apparently the virus or whatever started from a strain of some kind of fungus. That is a real life thing, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. This is
Like,
these
not
are
only is it a real
potential
life
things.
thing, it's like, it's like the COVID. Like, it's like, oh yeah, this could definitely.
Yeah, no,
This could be
absolutely.
the thing.
This
Not an
could.
unrealistic story,
Yeah,
honestly.
and
like-
people aren't giving fungus their due.
So, question.
Hmm.
What do you think about the stoned ape theory?
The stoned ape?
Yeah.
I don't know that theory.
You haven't heard about that?
I don't think so.
There's a theory going around. Rogan's talked about it.
Okay.
I love that. I
Yeah.
call him Rogan like we're peers.
We go fan. Yeah.
Basically, the idea is that as apes, potentially with a slightly higher level of cognizance or intelligence or something like that, we ingested psilocybin mushrooms or psychedelic mushrooms or whatever kind of thing and got intelligence from that. The level of intelligence, speech, all of that. Some people could argue the mushrooms gave it to us to serve them, or it could just be a happy coincidence. My argument's always going to be, why the haven't other things
Develops that.
right?
Right. I did hear a little bit about that. Why didn't other things develop that? Just because of the way, I want to say chemicals just work differently for different people or different things.
I mean, they're a deer. They're a okay, sorry, really quick side note. Santa might have been a mushroom. I don't know if you knew this or not.
I did learn a weird thing about, oh God, what was it? It's something along the lines of, do you know why we put the presents underneath the tree? Because
Yes.
that's where,
Yeah.
the deer would go and get.
So there's this red and white mushroom. The mushroom from Mario
Yeah.
is a real mushroom.
Yes.
And it exists, and it grows underneath pine trees.
Yep.
And reindeer are addicted to this shit. Like, to the point where, like, guys who would eat it, deer will, like, trample them to death to get the piss with this fucking mushroom in it. Like, 'cause they're so addicted to it. Why the aren't they walking around and talking and shit? Like,
Sure.
but also, so, like, if you see a picture of a deer next to one of these things, I mean, Rudolph, the red-nosed
Right.
reindeer, I mean, talk about, and
Being
this thing is
high.
red and white, looks just like
Yep.
Santa.
Yep.
It's under the tree.
Yep.
All that shit.
Yep. Yeah. That's that. Maybe has something to do with our brain capacity and size.
I mean, again, I think we'd have to be like relatively intelligent animals already
Yeah,
if this
for
were
it
to
to-
be a thing. But you'd think if it can take, let's say we are a C tier monkey,
Yeah.
right? Early humans, and we eat the mushrooms and we get to a B and an A and an S, blah blah blah. If deer is F tier, wouldn't they at least get to C eventually? Like, you'd think they'd be using tools, something to indicate that this mushroom is giving them some more. I mean, deer are stupid as shit.
Yes. Quite.
90 miles an hour, horn blowing, headlights on, deer is staring at you chewing. No, I'm thinking that takes away the stoned ape theory right there.
So my rebuttal is there's not that hemisphere is the wrong word. There's not that section of the brain for the fungus to affect and start giving them extra abilities. There's not that.
Sure.
They don't have the capacity for that.
Sure.
Right?
Like, no matter what,
No matter what you do, you can't fit Call of Duty onto a 3.5-inch floppy.
sure. All right, fair enough. Fair
You know
enough.
what I'm saying?
Very good analogy. Perfect, yep.
So I'm glad you kind of brought this up because one of my concerns for using fungus in technology, you also brought up a point I didn't think about was, it's kind of like AI.
Yeah.
We're afraid of developing AI and AI going out of control, right?
Yes.
Right. We want to introduce a living organism into our machinery.
Right.
What if that shit mutates, bro?
Right.
What?
What if that's all it takes for mushrooms to be like, got it now. Thank you.
Exactly. Now I'm awake and I'm already spread across the world.
Not only am I awake, I have access to all of the knowledge you've collected for me
Everything.
because I gave you intelligence in the first place.
Yeah.
Thank you, mind slaves.
Oh,
And you've created machine bodies for me to inhabit? Oh, perfect. Thank you so much.
The Basilisk theory?
No, I haven't.
The Basilisk theory is the AI fear that we have.
Okay.
And I want to say it has something to do with time travel, but I can't remember exactly. Essentially, me telling you about the Basilisk theory empowers it to happen.
Okay.
It becomes our AI overlord because we even thought about creating AI in the first place.
I gotcha. So like
So
even
it-
having like once you've had the thought, it's too late.
It's too late.
It's kinda
It
like the
creates
nuclear
himself,
bomb.
but you can't.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. You want to prevent the Basilisk theory from coming
Right.
about, but since you're already thinking about preventing it, you're making it reality.
It's interesting because like yeah, once you think, or once you see, I guess really,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this could be a thing. This could really be. I know how to achieve it. Then
It's
you
already in the works.
You must achieve it.
Yeah.
Or someone else will. You can't just with that knowledge because
Yeah.
it clearly exists.
Yes.
And I mean, where do thoughts come from? I mean, again, how do you create the nuclear bomb? I don't understand how. I understand a combustion engine in theory. Could I build one? No, but I understand heat produce thing, which make thing move. I get that.
Yeah.
I don't get the cloud. I don't get that at all. But someone made theoretically,
Yeah.
or we reverse engineer it from aliens, but still,
Right,
some
exactly.
creature somewhere made it. Where did that thought come from?
So there's this anime I've been watching occasionally. A like microbiologist gets sent into a fantasy world, right? And they don't understand what germs are,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So he creates a device so you can see it like a little magnifying glass, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh my god, what are these? These are germs." And shit." And that brought to my thought, it was like, wait, how did we discover germs in the first place?
Yeah.
We can't see it with the naked eye.
I know this information must exist, but to me it feels a lot like this is some shit I would have loved to have explored more in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I don't care necessarily about super lung division, but like I'd kind of like to know some of this. Maybe that's just a me thing, but I don't know.
Like, wait, who developed a thing to see bacteria?
I mean, it speaks to the I don't know, like the ethereal nature of the human mind.
Yeah.
But that to me just is like, well, then so much worse mushrooms. Because we can't, because again, we're so limited in our understanding of what a living thing looks like. We understand plants, but even then we qualify it with like, well, they're not really alive. They're
Right.
technically alive.
Right.
But
we
we're-
still have issues with animals and insects.
Right. Insects, I mean, barely. They're
Yeah.
basically plants.
Right.
Nobody ever questions stepping on an insect.
Right.
So, I mean, what does it mean when a mushroom's having thoughts?
Yeah.
And what does it? There might be consequences for that. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
And if we just if you hook it up to the internet
God.
and you're building computers out of it, oh, that does seem so dangerous. But what an interesting. I mean, like, some people are going to hear this if they made it this far, and are going to say these guys are crazy. I mean, like this is just science fiction. If I told my mother this, she would entertain me talking to her, but it's not connecting in her brain like that's really a thing.
Right. No. 'Cause using mushrooms in our technology or using fungus in our technology is a thing. That's
Right.
happening nowadays.
People are trying very hard to like develop that.
Right.
I mean, cars potentially one day. Mushroom cars could be absolutely a thing.
I've seen like fungus used as leather. I've seen fungus used in a whole bunch of different types of ways that I didn't think. Like the leather thing really kind of got me. I was like, oh shit, I didn't.
I mean, that
what?
makes
Do that?
it's so, as Neil deGrasse Tyson loves to point out.
Yeah.
What's the texture of a mushroom? It's meaty.
It is me.
It is meaty though, like umami. You
Yeah.
get that from meat or mushrooms.
That big fucking mushroom that we were eating on.
Oh yeah.
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 Exactly.
Absolutely.
That kind of felt steaky.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, the stringy mushroom from our mukbang,
Yeah.
those tasted very much like it tastes like
Pulled
potato,
pork?
like tomato sauce.
Sure.
Like, yeah, very. That'd be a great substitute for pulled pork.
Yeah.
Those stringy ass little bullshit mushrooms are good though. They're
right.
so good.
If you're looking for a meat substitute, I've constantly heard use mushroom.
Honestly, I would take a portobello burger over a fucking like Impossible burger or veggie burger.
probably.
Unless it's a good ass homemade veggie burger. If we're getting like Morning Star veggie burgers,
Depends, yeah.
I would take a fucking portobello over that.
Granted, my mom did try to make some veggie burgers one time, and they just they wouldn't stay formed.
Oh, sure,
But
yeah.
I still just ate the slop
Yeah,
itself. It was
it's
still
fine.
good.
A good
Yeah.
veggie burger is good.
Yeah.
But like,
Like
I mean, a
that.
mushroom Swiss burger is basically just mushrooms and Swiss.
Yeah, with some
you
meat
replace
on
the
it.
meat with just more mushroom.
Yeah.
You're kind of getting the general gist of that, in my opinion. I mean, yeah, of course it's not the same. Of course.
Right. I mean,
But it's way closer than a veggie burger to me.
right. And some of the like Impossible or Beyond burgers just feel
They're
like
just fucking
cardboard.
nasty.
Yeah.
Ah, they're so bad.
It's right. You don't get that meaty texture and feel.
No.
That meaty texture, feel, juiciness. You can get from a mushroom in some of these fake soy created burgers or whatever they're made out of. Just they feel like cardboard a lot of times.
It's always weird that fucking vegetarians and vegans still want their to be meaty, though.
Yeah. Right. Huh. I wonder why.
Can you make it taste like meat for me? Thanks. I want to taste the suffering, of course.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing. I mean, what a world we live in. Because when we were growing up, never would this have happened. But apparently nowadays, man, like suburban white fucking wino moms, their new thing, psilocybin mushrooms. That's just microdose.
I mean, I love microdosing.
I've never done it. I intend to very soon.
I was doing it all last week.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a thing I do, absolutely. But never would I have any of the
absolutely
women
not.
I went to, like when I went on a play date and they were watching me. If my mother knew they were microdosing on psilocybin mushrooms,
Right. No, they're drug addicts.
friendship over. Yeah,
Clearly
like,
drug addicts.
degenerates.
And then your mother goes home and takes 7 pills before she goes to bed.
Right,
That's okay. You're not a drug addict.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's prescribed.
Right, exactly.
Again,
It's prescribed.
we've discussed we can totally get prescription drugs,
Right.
high end delivered to us, full kits. It's great. But that's an interesting way the world's changing, man. Like mushrooms are legal in Michigan. They're getting more legal other places.
And
I'm not
it's-
against it.
And it seems like it's the more natural things that are starting to become legal.
I mean, I don't know. Again, the only reason I brought up the past is because I'm curious how the world is shifting. I wouldn't have been able to call that one. Back in the day, right when Obama got elected, for the first time, you and me were sitting in a car with a bunch of guys, 2 other guys because it was a car, and we were together. We were all singing "New Black President, New Black President."
I remember
And a cop out of nowhere pulled up, headlights on, parked right in front of the car we were in.
Oh.
And in that moment, I knew I was probably going to go to jail.
Right, because we were smoking weed.
Because we were smoking weed.
Uh-huh.
Thankfully, the cop got out of the car and went to the house that we were parked nearby, at which point we all ran away very quickly.
Yeah, just dispersed.
I tell that story to illustrate the point that now, soccer moms, let me just microdose magic mushroom. Magic mushroom.
Magic mushrooms.
I mean, when we were in school,
we have dispensaries for weed now.
when we were in school, weed was a gateway drug, and
Yep.
magic mushrooms were like, you've gone down the worst road.
Yes.
Like, that's the worst. That and heroin,
That.
black tar heroin and magic mushrooms, or like psychedelics in a general
Psychedelics
sense,
in a general sense.
were the worst
Mushrooms
things.
were lower than acid, but it was still within
It's
the
still in
same
there.
realm of acid or ecstasy.
Acid is war Greymon. Mushrooms were metal Greymon.
Sure. Yeah. 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 Ecstasy was great, man.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Agumon is obviously weed.
Weed, yeah, of course.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Coromon is like, honestly, back in the day, like paint or glue.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Or
Puffing
cough
something
syrup
or
was quite. I
doing
still love cough
whippets.
syrup. Whippets, yeah. Absolutely. I never liked whippets.
I've never done whippets.
I tried it once. I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing.
Apparently, I'm not gonna say.
I've huffed
that.
paint
Never mind.
once.
I
I was a
know
white trash
someone-
little kid, man. Like, of course I've huffed paint.
I know someone that apparently does whippets all the time. Buys hundreds of canisters constantly, and is like, "This helped out my sickness I had."
Does his name start with a J?
It does not.
Okay. So I was thinking of somebody that we went to high school
No,
with.
you do not know this person.
Okay, gotcha.
But they had a medical issue where their body was stopping, right? Like they all had like some type of stroke issue, right?
Oh yeah.
They were in the hospital, and somehow weed and whippets got introduced into their life, and started making them better.
So, like, I'm really glad you brought that up because the reason these women or people in general, man, like, are taking mushrooms is because it helps with it helps all sorts of
Yeah.
depression, suicidality, drug addictions, actual drug addictions.
Yeah.
Somebody said, I'm misquoting this, so don't quote me on it,
Yeah.
but it's like one of the things that yields the best results with the lowest amount of negative results. Like there's almost no downside and there's so many
Upsides.
proven upsides
Right.
to this thing.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because like cocaine and heroin were actual prescribed drugs.
Yep.
This was never like a pharmaceutically prescribed drug. It's some natural. Same with weed.
Yep.
Just some that grows in the wild.
Yep.
That's the they take away.
Yeah.
Right. It's always been illegal.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy because it tends to have so many benefits.
What do you think about it, man? What do you think about it being beneficial to your life? Do you think sorry, I know I asked you a question. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it. I find benefit in microdosing. It does help with my depression. It does make me feel a little more active. I just feel better. I drink less.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I was like, I don't really need to drink right now. I feel pretty good. I just maybe take a bite of this same shroom every couple hours, and I'm doing fine.
So when I drank, it was a problem. I would not go anywhere. I would just go home and like fucking watch Power Rangers and some shit and get hammered, man. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't function at all.
Right.
After I quit, I had a real hard time with a lot of different until I started smoking weed. And then like it cured my depression.
Right.
It gave me so much. It really gave me like I don't want to sound like I'm pushing a thing.
Right.
But it's kind of like Christ for me almost. Like it really did give me so much help.
Yeah.
And it was so not a problem for my life. Alcohol took money away from me. Bro, in Michigan, I'll go to Michigan, man, and buy
So
what,
much.
like 25 joints for $15 or something.
Right,
Like
exactly.
high quality. Like I bought a 200 milligram gummy, $4.
Jeez.
Yeah, and throwing that at you. You go to a place, they're giving you a free eighth for like going there for the first time. You get a referral. Hey, I get some free
absolutely.
too.
Absolutely.
All the time they give, man. Like
They're just throwing it at you.
And for me, it's such a blessing because it really is. It helped me like find meditation. It helped me find peace. It helped me with my anger issues. It helped me want to live. It helped me do this. It gave this a lot more focus. Honestly, this wouldn't have come about at all without it. Probably.
Probably not.
That's how it started. Was us
Yeah.
having you were drinking, I was having some weed, just talking about the life and the kitchen.
One of the other things that usually come up when you're talking about the medicinal purposes of marijuana is for cancer patients.
Yeah.
I want to say my grandma dabbled in that for a little while during her cancer issues.
Yeah.
It's just like, why did it take so long?
I mean, again, I've never heard of medicinal heroin. I've never heard of medicinal cocaine. I mean, I know those things used to be drugs.
Right.
What I'm saying is the street form that is a recreational
Right.
drug.
Right.
I've never seen anybody being like, oh, I'm having cancer. I got the shakes I can't eat. Let me just do some heroin really quick. Oh, much better.
Right. No, you're right.
Versus let me hit a joint real quick.
Yeah.
And now I'm just chilling.
Right.
I'm kind of hungry. I can go to sleep. My pain is gone. I've never really met a pothead who is like, you know,
Completely
out
gone,
of it,
Yeah.
unless they're just a shithead.
Right.
And
And
like,
you're already just shit.
I've never really seen anybody microdosing. Our buddy Johnny has been microdosing around me, and I didn't know.
Right.
He's like, "Oh, you're doing great today, man." He's like, "Oh, I've been microdosing." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Well, if you can use that tool the same way someone uses Adderall,
Right. Exactly.
why the f not? It's legal. Who cares?"
Yeah. Why is that a problem?
Our
Why
buddy-
is that such an issue?
Our buddy Michael doesn't take anything ever. Like he'll take medicine if he's sick, but like he doesn't like sleeping pills. He doesn't like. He's never alcohol, never weed, never nicotine, nothing, because he doesn't want to be dependent on anything.
Right.
And I've always kind of felt that in my
Yeah.
heart, like
I
you know,
feel the same.
I don't want to be dependent, but also like I wear fucking shoes. You wear glasses.
Yeah.
We wear clothes.
Yeah.
I want a wife. Like you're gonna be dependent on shit. I need a car. Or I need the train at least, public transit, because we don't live in a village.
And I do think that some people are just wired different, right?
Right.
In sometimes a negative way. Sometimes synapses just aren't firing correctly,
Right.
or overfiring, or
Right.
whatever the thing is. And sometimes you need an outside introduction into you.
And I will state for the record, of course, mushrooms, weed, anything at all has negative consequences to
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
All I'm saying is, if you grow up and you're fed chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese,
Yeah.
that is no better
No.
at all than letting people have mushrooms, a small dose. I'm not saying kids,
Right.
fully grown, 25, whatever.
Right.
I mean, once you're 18, do whatever you want. I'm going to encourage my kids, and I'm encouraging any listeners. 25 is probably about right.
Yeah.
Your
I would
brain's
say
kind of
25
done
is
with
pretty-
but all things in moderation. That's the important part.
Yeah. All things.
But it seems more and more clear that this unquestionably is a good.
Yeah, and as far as like, oh, I don't want to create a dependency on these quote unquote illegal drugs or like drugs.
Right.
That's what you do with these prescriptions, though.
I mean, I think you only get dependencies on like if you're abusing it. Like, I really don't think. I know right now I smoke weed all the time. My willpower is such that if I had to give up weed, I'd be frustrated because I enjoy it.
Right.
But in the same way, I'd be frustrated if I had to give up any other thing I enjoy.
Right.
I'd be much harder pressed to give up my cell phone,
Right.
which way worse.
Yeah. And
I wonder how
can
good can
be.
it be for. I mean, maybe that's why all the men are getting softer in the world, and I say that as a proud myself. Look at me, anybody who questions that, Jesus. But I wonder if a cell phone in our pocket cooking our nuts all the time is
Yeah, right?
creating
Maybe
a
that's-
generation of softer men.
That could be an issue. It's just like naturally lowering our testosterone.
And you can't microwave
Or
your dick
constantly. Yeah.
for 12 hours a day.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
That's true.
everyone keeps it in their pocket right there. We're going to have a big lump of cancer when we're 80.
Right next to our balls or next to our brain.
Right.
That's usually where it is.
If we do that just without even thinking about it, mushrooms, again, they seem so beneficial.
Yeah.
But anything can be abused, and I haven't done it because I was afraid. I had the indoctrination in high school where it's like you can get the bad trip,
Right.
and it seemed to me like everybody every time had a bad trip, and I was always like, why do people do this?
Yeah,
It seems like you're on a knife's edge of just falling into the land of dark elves and fucking horror. You're gonna get fucked up the ass by Satan.
that's why I never take that much.
Right.
Because as much as I do want to trip, I know the way my mind works.
Right. Same.
And there's a good chance it's going to go dark.
Right.
So I take enough to where I'm comfortable with it. And
Yeah.
that's why I usually end up leading into microdosing. Like there are times I will take it for fun, I guess, and
Yeah.
I'll take a larger dose, and then I might have like tracers, be tripping just a little bit. I've never seen any actual hallucinations
Right.
or crazy visuals.
I want to do that. I want to do ayahuasca as well, but the full I want to trip.
Right.
But the problem is, I've seen all the horror movies that are called like the worst horror movies ever. People faint in the hallways, blah blah blah. And I'm like, really? That's it? Because the shit I come up with in my head, as like, cause I was a film student. I like to make movies. I like to write stories. I like horror. The horror movies I've written, and I have written a few books, and I've never published anything. I'm never going to put it out there because it's so horrific.
Right.
If I'm like, if this is what you think is the worst, And since my mind does that naturally already for fun,
Yeah.
Giving it gas on the fire has always made me a little bit afraid. I'm at peace with myself. I feel good about the idea of an ego death. I'm just afraid of what I'll see and what I know I'll have to lean into to have it be okay. To get what I need to get out of the medicine, as it were.
Right. And we recently talked about the Philosopher's Stone, right?
Yes.
Let's go into Full Metal Alchemist, the anime.
Okay, yeah, I love it. My first tattoo was from Full Metal Alchemist.
That taking like ayahuasca or going that far reminds me of seeing the door of truth and going through it.
Yes, exactly.
I don't want my brain to overload. Don't know if I'm quite ready to actually see God. You know what I mean? See his actual visual. Can I understand that stimulus? Will it just fry my brain? Maybe it will give me some type of awesome awakening. Maybe I can start clapping transmutation circles.
I mean, see, here's the thing. I like to believe there's something higher than myself that guides us, perhaps.
Sure.
And maybe these sorts of things are windows into that.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to say. I don't have a problem. Let's say for the sake of the argument that is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
There is some kind of spiritual truth. I'm very much a spiritual person, and I do try very hard to discern a certain amount of spiritual truth.
Hmm.
I don't mind opening the door of truth, as it were, seeing God, learning a lesson, and then like coming back, even if I am completely changed. Let's say I do that, which is the thing I fear, I guess the thing I would like to happen the least,
Mm-hmm.
is I go on this journey, I come back, and it's like, okay, yeah, less taste is not the thing.
Sure.
All of this is not the thing. None of this was ever the thing, blah, blah, blah. Because my spirituality is such that, like, yeah, Jesus said give everything up. Buddha said give everything up. Everyone kind of says give everything up and just give to the earth and care. And, like, I mean, fucking Gandhi did that.
Right.
All of the spiritual teachers today that truly seem to embody that are really like, I'm living in a hut.
Yeah.
Or at least they present that way. If
Right.
you're authentic, I feel like you'd have to kind of do something like that. So it would potentially shatter my way of thinking entirely.
Right.
I'm cool with that, but nobody in my life, nobody at all, would fucking support me. I would be homeless.
Right. Yeah. Like,
Goodbye
are you
all.
sure,
I mean,
bro?
you would support me in the idea of what I'm doing.
Yes.
You wouldn't support me in any other way.
Probably.
I wouldn't expect you to.
No.
Who the f*** is putting my crazy ass up? I don't have a girlfriend. My parents would not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'd have to, like, okay, well, I guess I'm flying to India or something, and or somewhere like a monastery. I don't know. I don't know what would happen. I'm just such an extreme person. I'm afraid of what my mind could do to me. I'm cool with all of it happening. I don't want to deal with the consequences of it happening.
Right, and I kind of go back to this like version of dependency, because what I kind of think about is, let's say it is like this spiritual awakening. You get to see the true totality of the universe. To me, it's like, oh, you got to be in magic school and then you got kicked out and now you're no longer a part of magic school.
Right.
You know the truth is out there, but you can no longer be a part of it.
I mean, it's being
now
unplugged.
I need that thing.
It's
again.
being unplugged from the Matrix.
Right.
You know, and then you have to live in the Matrix still.
Mhm.
And nobody believes.
Or the opposite. It
Or
could
the
be
opposite.
like, what's the bald guy that was like, oh,
Cypher.
yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
like Cypher. It was like, oh, I got a taste of the real world.
Right.
I need to be able to go back to the fake world. I don't want to have any memories
Right, but you
of what
can't.
is actually right.
Right, and that's like...
Now you're stuck unlocked.
Right. So, when I was a kid, I watched an episode of Hey Arnold. And he learned karate. And he had some bullies or whatever, and he
Yep.
thought this guy was going to bully him, and he beat the shit out of him, and he was like, I was wondering where the bus stop was. And I remember that moment so clearly. Because in that moment, in my heart and in my soul, I felt his emotion. Truly.
The bullies or
The
Arnold?
guy who got beat up, because he wasn't really a bully, he was
Right.
just trying to find the bus stop. And like I remember like freaking out a little bit. Because it wasn't just like, I understand that he feels bad. It was like, I deeply can feel the emotion he's feeling. And that's called empathy.
Yeah.
And theoretically, most people kind of have that. But, like, I have a very extreme version of that.
Yeah, empathy sucks, bro.
And, like, I don't necessarily know how much I want to open my mind in an uncontrolled way. I do, of course. But, like, I feel that way for animals. I feel that way for I feel that way for fucking anything.
Yeah.
If I leave a stool in the alleyway, I feel badly that I'm abandoning that stool.
Like, think about becoming a true empath and being able to feel the emotions of everything that's happening around the globe.
Right, exactly. Like, I'm afraid of something like that happening.
What? No.
I mean, that sounds ridiculous. It sounds impossible. To people listening right now, like, they're like, I mean, some people might relate. So, I don't know what emotions
Right.
people are having. I'm not really a true empath in that sense. But some people could listen to that and just say, like, well, that's crazy. Of course you can't just feel the true emotions of every other people. Like, that's science fiction. But, like,
There's a lot of science fiction we live with today.
there are things that are so ineffable and impossible to know. And, like, if mushrooms open the door to that, I mean, so that's one theory, is that the church discouraged mushrooms because Jesus is kind of the mushroom. Because, like, apparently Jesus means, like, what does it mean? I might have it written down somewhere. Hold on. I'll see if I can find it real quick. I think it's like Jesus translates to covered in God's semen.
Okay.
Because it would rain, and that's
Uh-huh.
God coming,
Sure.
and then the mushrooms would grow, and that's
Okay.
Jesus, like the resurrection, because they die and then they come back.
Mm-hmm.
And all this other, and like the church discouraged mushroom use because they knew it was the gateway to God, and they wanted control over the gateway to
Sure.
God, which I 100%, I
I can
totally
see
get behind that.
I can see that.
What do you think about that?
I don't know how much I truly believe that, but I can understand, like, the rain is God seeding the earth.
Do you think there's a higher intelligence of any kind?
I do believe there is a spirituality. There's something to
Very politician answer of you.
there's something to consciousness and or the collective consciousness.
Okay, sure.
I don't have a firm answer if I think there is a singular deity out there.
Sure.
That's hard for me to wrap my mind around.
Sure.
Because they say brilliant minds think alike. Me and you have done some weird collective consciousness stuff together.
Yeah, we've had moments, like, there have been times where, I mean, without prompt,
Yeah.
I'll look at my phone and be like, Quan's going to call me now. And then in that moment, as soon as I finish the sentence in my head,
Mm-hmm.
which even in and of itself, what is that sentence? What is that?
Yeah.
I'm hearing it. I'm hearing those words.
Yeah.
What? How? But as soon as I finish that sentence, my phone starts ringing and you're calling me.
Exactly.
And which is weird because you don't
Exactly.
call me or other things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or we find a bamboo forest in the middle of Midwestern Michigan.
What the fuck? No, there's weird stuff out there.
Yeah.
There is.
We've had ghost experiences. I mean, maybe that discredits us in the mind of some people. Some people will hear that and think because we're open to those types of experiences, which is weird to me. Like, my mother doesn't believe in ghosts. Which, there's ghosts in the Bible, first of all. She's very Christian.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, how is your magic real and mine's not?
Yeah.
Like, why is mine ridiculous at least? I understand if it's not real,
Mm-hmm.
but if you really believe in a talking snake, why could a mushroom not be the secret to God?
Maybe that snake ate that mushroom that opened up language for him.
Maybe the mushroom was the snake.
Well, maybe that apple was infected with fungi,
Maybe an
and
apple.
that gave us that knowledge.
Maybe it wasn't an apple. Maybe it was a mushroom.
Maybe it was.
Maybe that brings us to everyone's favorite time of the day. Would you rather?
Would you rather?
All right, this is a superhero one for the day.
Okay.
Would you rather super strength or telekinesis? We're talking Superman level. Like, you pull your punches, you can easily knock out a skyscraper.
Mm-hmm. There has to be some form of durability that comes along with it.
Absolutely.
Or just
Superman level strength and durability. Bulletproof, like laser proof.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
I kind of want that.
But telekinesis, you're as fragile as you are now, but we're talking Jean Grey level telekinesis. Not the Phoenix. Not the Phoenix.
You know, I got
Very
that.
different.
Yes, very different.
There's Wanda Maximoff and there's Scarlet Witch. Very different
yeah,
things.
those are different things.
There's Magneto and Professor X alone, and there's Onslaught.
But then there's like, well, depending on how strong your telekinesis is, you can effectively fly and have a force field.
I mean, force field. You cannot form a force field. You can't just create a bubble around you.
Okay.
You must stop objects.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Yes, you can't just put up a shield. You can lift yourself,
Right.
but you cannot fly. You can hold yourself however you want to hold
Yeah,
yourself.
then move yourself around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can fly like Superman in aesthetic,
Right.
but you're not flying.
Right. No, you're not flying. You're just moving.
And whatever taxes the body using telekinesis taxes it to fly, certainly.
Right. Obviously.
I'm going to say, obviously it's Jean Grey level.
But she can fly pretty consistently.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, again, it's not Marvel Girl, it's Jean Grey. Sorry, it gets complicated for the layman out there. Let me take over X-Men 97 Season 2. Or at least Season 3. I'm telekinesis all day, baby. You know that. You know that.
I'm aware of that. I kind of, if it's going to be the super strength and invulnerability, I kind of like that as well. That has its own issues too.
See, for me, I feel like, and this is nerdy as shit,
Uh,
our fighting styles in real life match our video game fighting styles.
yeah.
I am speed, distance, stay the fuck away.
I prefer to be up close and personal.
You're a grappler, yeah.
I
Absolutely.
prefer to be up close and personal.
So super strength,
You
again,
do.
our fight would
I'll
just be
take
you're
that.
chasing me,
Sure.
and I'm throwing buildings at you,
Yeah.
and you're just tanking in
Flying
the
through,
face.
Yeah. Or running through or whatever.
Just
I mean, I can
jumping
leap.
to tackle me in the sky. I'm imagining because you're so strong, I can't just fling you away.
Right. I mean, and if you could, then I'm tanking most things.
Right.
But then it's like,
And I also
how
can't
far
just
can
rip you
fling
apart.
me?
Right.
Right. Do I die in the vacuum of space?
No.
There's so many different things.
If you're going super strength, just right, you know that.
I think so.
Yeah?
I like the invulnerability more than I like the actual strength.
I
And
mean,
I
I would-
understand the strength is a good power in itself,
Yep.
but the just natural defenses, just
I mean,
the auto defense is really kind of what I want.
the first thing I do is I walk into downtown Chicago. I stand in front of Trump Tower. I say, everyone, listen. You don't know who I am. I know. This seems very unimportant. It's gonna not in a minute here. So Trump, president, cool, fine, whatever. I don't care. Frosty, I am your God Emperor, and I just levitate myself in Trump Tower up into the sky.
Sure.
Just float above the city for a minute, and just like, hey everyone, hi. All right, we're cool right now. Don't fling missiles at me. I'll just throw them back.
It's fair.
I just take Trump Tower to a
Fair.
little, like, I put it on top of the Sears Tower. Just for a second. Like,
Just for
made
a
the
second.
tallest building, and now I'm taking both of these to, I don't know,
Wherever I
a
want
mountain
to.
somewhere. Collecting all the best buildings on a mountain. Anyone who likes me, come serve me.
I'm more of a, like, how Logan just randomly saves people at bars or people are just with him.
Yep.
Like, I'm far more low-key with it.
You'd be Superman where it's like, you'd be at work, and you're like, there's a bar fight going on. You just walk out and you're just like, hey, buddy.
Can we not?
And they push you, they just fling back.
Yeah.
If you don't move at all, just, I can totally see you love it, especially drunk.
Yeah.
Ah.
Oh, see, yeah, I would have to control my alcohol.
Instead of bars, like crushing pool balls in your hand. Like, want to see me do other shit? Nobody wants this. Everyone believes you. And on that note, this has been Kitchen Open Late, but the kitchen is now closed, so get the f*** out.
Peace.